I'm just doing this because I'm bored as fuck and I don't give a fuck. Because I ain't got nothing else to do with this time. It's only actually 11:30. But fuck you! So I'm bored. So y'all could just stare in my face for hella hours. Check out that 90s haircut. Um, YouTube. Watch this. I know I don't got nothing for you to look at. But I bet you a lot of people are comment on this. Okay. Bye.